Go ahead. We are on live.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, friends. Welcome all to our Voice of Men 360 monthly webinar episode number 7. My name is Satya Suresh and I'm a registered social service worker, and it is my pleasure to host this monthly webinar. Thank you, Voice of Men 360 and the team, for giving me this great opportunity. Again, welcome all to our monthly webinar episode number 7, Voice of Men 360. We have 2 webinars in a month. We bring experts from different fields, discuss on a particular topic. Our intention is to create awareness for men and women, of course, women, by sharing a valuable information from our experiences. We believe we definitely will make changes in your lives. What is Voice of Men 360? Voice of Men 360 is a non-profit organization founded in 2020, and it is based in Toronto, Canada, and it is part of International Men's Day. The International Men's Day, IMD, has been serving for more than 20 years. Nearly 90 countries around the world joined together are doing various activity regularly. IMD follows 6 pillars, and we follow that too. Voice of Men. So proud to be a part of it. Today, we have a special guest to discuss on empowering men. This is a great topic, so please don't miss out. Stay with us until the end. So let's welcome our guest, Kenny Mammarella-D'Cruz. Kenny came from a dramatic beginnings, death threats, refugee camps, paternal abandonment, maternal enmeshment, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, health issues, and racism. He has come far from that now and is holding a men's group for 20 years. He trains people and organizations to facilitate their own groups and is known in the media for his work with men. Kenley fearlessly journeys through the dark shadows and into the gold, working alongside with the private clients and holding groups, empowering people with a self-awareness and tools to adjust their sails to catch up the winds of change. Authenticity is the name of the game, and Kenny has helped hundreds of men find peace, fulfillment, living with presence, purpose, passion, and personal power. I'm so proud to welcome our guest, Kenny. Hi, Kenny.
Hey, I'm so chuffed to be here. Really looking forward to this show, this episode. Episode 7, lucky number.
Yes, lucky 7. Thank you for joining with us and willing to share some important aspect of empowering men. We are looking forward to learning a lot more from you today. Please begin with a brief introduction. Thank you.
The first thing that crossed my mind, especially with empowering men, is the tragedy is so many men can be limited by shame and by blame, where I feel true power comes from vulnerability, naming what's going on, rather than stepping back, because if I say this, then I'll be ashamed, or people might judge me, or I should work it out first. And once I've worked it out, then I know what's wrong with me. Meanwhile, working things out and finding situations, it's my child. For me, I could blame Idi Amin. Is that going to help me? Because, I'm a refugee from Uganda because of Idi Amin. I could blame the government, I could blame religion, I could blame anyone in my family or my friends or my childhood, my situation. Why even go there? That's not going to set me free. And I remember looking for all the information to try and work it out and try and fix myself. And generally, I find people come to men's groups. Since COVID, we've been holding men's groups every day. People come to men's groups with what's wrong with me and how do I do me better? And what they find out is there's nothing wrong with you. The question behind that is, who are you? And it's not about doing anything better. It's about being who you are, being available to life and meeting at boundaries, learning boundaries, and then taking part in life. So blaming can be part of fixing. And I kind of think cut the middleman out and connect now, because shame and blame, I would say most men are fearful of abandonment and humiliation. That's not going to help things. For me, it's name it, show up, so we're all able to take part in life, talk about it, and let it pass, because all my pain has always passed. All my joy has always passed. My every thought and feeling has passed. So empowering men, I believe, is showing up and being true, stepping into my truth, stepping into my vulnerability, getting real and taking part in life.
Yeah. What else you would like to share today to empower men?
Um, Let me see. I know the biggest thing that set me free. Um, I was saying about blaming and fixing and all of that kind of stuff. And and people say, people get addicted to drink, drugs, food, work, money, power, or whatever it is. I believe behind all of these things is the addiction to thoughts. And when I feel bad, then maybe if I eat, I won't feel, because all my energy will go into digestion. If I make a lot of money or have power, then maybe people will respect me and I'll be good enough to connect with. So I would say the addiction generally is feelings, and a bad feeling can go into the head and become thoughts. And I needed to break the spell on my addiction to my thoughts. How do I do that? How do I stop thinking when the addiction says, I'm almost there? I almost have the answer. I'm almost free. I've almost cracked the code of life. I've almost understood. And then I'm seduced again into my thoughts. And I had to admit to myself that apart from crossing the road, um, eating, drinking, and doing the ironing or fixing things, my thoughts haven't actually set me free of anything. The thoughts are really good to be practical with. So how did I stop thinking, and how did I go from my head to my heart, to my body, to my presence, to be available to take part? And I just needed to break the spell and trust, get out of control. My thoughts kept me in the fantasy that I'm in control. Actually, my thoughts controlled me and limited my life. Because if I'm going to live in life within the control of my thoughts, then the most that I will ever have is the best on a good day of what I've already had. And what's the point of that? I want to grow into life. I want to take part in life. I want to live beyond what I've already had and who I've already been, and really enter the dance of life. That's beyond my limiting thoughts. So, what I trained myself to do is, as soon as I found myself in my mind battling with my thoughts, or trying to save myself or make sense with my thoughts, I noticed that I wouldn't breathe anymore. I wasn't in my body anymore. I wasn't breathing. The breathing was here. And I was up here, very, very busy. And I wouldn't even get to the end of a thought, because there'd be a distraction, and this, and what about that? And I don't know whether I was toying with it or it was toying with me, but it wasn't going anywhere. So as soon as I found I was up in my head, I learned to notice, not even think to the end of the sentence, and stop, take a deep breath in, And as I breathe in, I breathe out of my head and into my body. And as I breathe in, I'm in my body anymore, not just, kind of like wafting around the place. And as I breathe in, I think, thank you for reminding me who I used to be. The gratitude, thank you for reminding me who I used to be. I used to be in the war zone. I used to be in trouble, trying to get out of trouble. And my thoughts, at some level in my life, have saved my life. Maybe now my thoughts are costing me my life, but I need to be grateful to that addiction for bringing me this far, knowing that I need to live beyond this into life. So thank you for reminding me who I used to be. And that's used to be, that's in the past. And as I breathe out, I take part with life in front of me. I'm present, I'm connected, and I'm able to respond. Now, when I'm thinking, I'm generally in panic. Not breathing is equal to panic. And the number of people the world over who've been wearing masks with COVID and reporting that their anxiety is up, their panic is up, some of that's to do with simply not breathing. And there's the old trick with the paper bag. When I'm in panic, breathe into the paper bag and you can see the bag expand and contract. And that's simply breathing in and being conscious with the breathing. So thank you for reminding me who I used to be. In the present, I'm back and I can respond to life rather than react to life. I don't need to come from the adrenaline and the toxic thoughts and feelings, because in a breath, I can turn that into endorphins. The endorphins are calm and they energize me, and they create an inner environment that will reflect in my outer environment. And now I'm in a calm space, inside and outside, and I can take part in life, able to respond rather than just react, able to listen rather than just listen to the fears in my head to justify that things are wrong. Because actually, in this moment, here and now, they're not. And when I was lost in the space between my years, when I was lost in my head, I would look to prove myself that I'm justified, that things are bad. I'd look for the evidence. That's not helpful. Right here and right now, things are wrong. I would look for my fantasies of what might happen that's going to be bad and how I'll fix them. They're fantasies. They don't exist. Why would I want to fix my fantasies when I can be present with life? I would look at my fears and I justify my fears. Why would I want to be led by fear in life? When I breathe in and I'm present, then I've got a choice to show up with love rather than to react to my own fears that I create. So, how powerful is it for me to be able to turn this around? Now, that's a lot of breathing, it's a lot of remembering, it's a lot of adjusting. A lot of people in the past would think, oh, I failed, I forgot, I found myself in my head, I'm in panic again. That's not helpful. The thing is, that's not failure. That's an indication to adjust. So as soon as I'm out of alignment, my opportunity is to get in alignment. And that's not read another self-help book or go and meditate for an hour or go on a retreat. It's right here and right now, because this is the only moment that matters, because this is the only moment that exists. So right here and right now, I can step into presence and connectedness, come from love rather than fear, and take part in life. I can call the shots, and that's not power over anyone or anything. That's empowered and able to connect with everyone and everything from my space. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, yes. It's an awesome message because it is definitely we need a message in this busy world. So it's really helpful. I have another question.
Go
How
for
to
it.
turn a lost boy? Because we sometimes we lost in our middle of the journey, right? So
Mhm.
how to turn from a lost boy to how to turn a man from a lost boy to a self-respecting man?
For me, this has got nothing to do with age. And this is everything to do with this, not only the stage in life, but in this moment, where am I? So, for example, showing up here in front of the two of you, the little lost boy in me could be, oh my God, I'm scared. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I make a fool of myself? What if they don't like me? What if they judge me? What if I'm abandoned? What if I get humiliated? That's my lost boy. It's almost like the boy in me who's scared to read something in class or go into the class in my new room, in my new school. That's the lost boy. Every man has that part in him. And it could be in front of a camera, it could be in the boardroom, it could be with friends, it could be with other men, it could be with other women. That's a part of me. I know that lost boy and I know that vulnerable child in me. Logically, I could say that's when maybe my father said to me, you may never see me again, you're the head of the family, when we left Uganda and he was left behind and we didn't know whether he'd be killed or not. So in a way, logically, it's like that's when my vulnerable child had to say, right, there's no space for a boy. You have to get it right. Emotionally, what I realized a long time ago, because that's from the stories, emotionally, I felt back and I felt back and I felt back. And generally, when I'm in fear, I breathe into it and I can adjust. If it doesn't shift, I don't want to miss out. So I'll follow the feeling back. And I followed it back. And the root of it was when my cousins were sent to convent. So suddenly, as a little boy, my perfect life met tragedy because people that I love were no longer there. So it's like, oh, what happened? But why have they been sent away? Where is this part of my love now going to be met? So I followed the feeling back. Now, the way to turn it around, I realized, is I'm not going to think this through, but I need to take a breath and let the man in me, because this is not going to be my father or my uncle or a big brother or Superman. It's the man in me is the man that's going to take care of the boy in me. So, in essence, inside, in a breath, it's like the man in me can show up and say to the boy in me, it's okay. You don't need to do this. I've got this. When I was a child, I didn't have that man because, it's no one's fault. It was circumstance. It could be bullying in the playground. It could be a misunderstanding. But every man, every woman has met a place in life where there's been vulnerability and a lack of protection. So in a way, it's like the essence of me, the pure spirit in me, has had a fractured spirit. That it's been through some pain. So a protecting part in me will show up. And that protecting part would be the part that I then show the world that I'm okay. And this is who you will see. And this is what I think you expect. And this is what I think you want. And this is the show I'll put on. And they never see the spirit because it's not to be harmed. It's not to be hurt ever again. Now, when the man in me shows up, now, suddenly, the protector is not putting on a show and sending the boy in me to the world. You don't send a vulnerable child to do a man's job. So now the man in me is here, and the child in me can actually shift because there's no longer a vulnerable child. With a man in the yard, the boy is safe. So the man in me can meet the world and respond. The protector can only react. The protector's job is survival, but it's time to live. So my vulnerable child can shift and can be safe and can actually, through intuition, advise the man in me because he's safe. So he can say, no, don't trust him, trust him. Don't go that way, go that way. It's listening to that inner voice, irrespective of religion. It's listening to nature or love or God or spirit or whatever you want to call it. Meanwhile, because the boy is safe, I haven't got a freaked out protector anymore doing his work because of lack of a man. The protector can still use these fine tools of how to survive to inform the man in me, not to shut down the life and do the same old story, but to inform the man in me. And the man in me can listen and think, what shall I do with this information? How shall I respond to life? And there is an open life that can grow. And it's vulnerable, but advised. There's great information here about, from the protector, what to look out for, and from the spirit, what to follow. And there's a man in the center, present, connected, and able to be with life and respond. That's the shift. Now, behind that, you could say, in a way, the vulnerable part is sending all the power outside. And you could say that I'd send it to you two. Do they like me? Am I safe? Am I being acceptable? And I'm giving all my power out. Or I could turn that around, and instead of coming from am I good enough? Am I putting on a good show? I could turn that around and come from I am. I'm present, I'm connected, I'm in touch with myself. I'm clear about where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from fear. That's am I. I'm coming from love, which is quite simply presence. I'm coming from who I am, and I can extend from me to you and be true. And that's the switch for me, from the boy in me to the man in me, from the fear in me to the love in me, from the am I space to the I am space. Now, is that vulnerable? I wonder whether the thought of it is fearful, but actually stepping into it and using such simple tools in the moment, surely that's empowering. And surely, what a gift for everyone to be able to connect with me. I'm present and connected, and I want to play, I want to hang out.
What a beautiful message. It's a big psychology, but you did in a brief message. It will reach the audience for sure.
Hope so.
Uh, we almost time, so I'm going to ask a quick question. After that, we go for the one audience questions from them. Um, Give me a brief answer. As a woman, I'm asking this question. What steps did you take to change the stereotype of men? What community views on men? What steps did you take? Because you were doing a past 20 years men's group. So did you take any action or didn't you take any steps to change the view of the society?
I would say the most important thing, and for me, firstly, it's not about men or women, it's about masculine and feminine. And I think that's fundamentally important. As an authentic male, actually, one of the biggest differences between a boy and a man includes the feminine, because that's the other side. Then I can collaborate and I can listen. Whether it's male or female, I'd say listening is key. And listening is, I'm listening to what you're saying, not I'm second guessing because I know you and I know what you're going to say. And if that's not listening, it's listening. A man needs to be heard by other men and by women, because then I exist and I know that I'm in relationship with you. A woman needs to be heard by a man. Then we understand each other. And it's not even necessarily the words, it's where are you coming from? Not what needs fixing, but where are you? Where am I? And how do we communicate and how do we commune?
Thank you very much, Kenny. Almost ending time. Hi, audience. Would you like to ask any question to Kenny? Do you have any questions?
Hi, everybody. Yes,
It's
I have
Sam.
one question for Kenny. Yes,
Good to
How
see
are you
you.
doing?
Wonderful.
It's good to see you. I would love to. I have the fortune, I have the honor to be interviewed for interview to Kenny, and I would love to ask you because at the first start of this interview, this program, you talk about your life, you talk about yourself, and could it be that the path of liberation, the path of becoming from change from both from a growth could be first to see yourself, to know yourself. It is like you said in all this speech that you come and you use your thinking center. So you could say that the path for start to be and grow is know yourself, and like you said from the essence, like the Sufi father said, like the Sufi teacher said, you have to become zero. You have to get out your personality. And that means know yourself. I could see from the very beginning of this interview.
Mm, mm. This is one of my favorite tricks. How do I know myself? How do I find myself? And so many people look outside, God knows everywhere. I looked in Fiji, for example. I traveled. It's like, no, I was taking myself to Fiji. The most efficient way that I have found who I am, and the most efficient way I suggest to find out who you are, is to be clear about who you no longer need to be. It's not who am I and how do I do me. It's more who am I not anymore? Who do I no longer need to be? What is not true anymore? It's get up to date, feel into it. Maybe, for example, some men might feel fearful or become little boys in front of a woman. And that might be because they were sent to boarding school and they weren't really around girls or women so much, for example. So notice it, breathe, let the man in you show up, but know yourself with, I no longer need to be fearful of women. I no longer need to be a little boy. I no longer need to say sorry all the time. It's very British to say sorry, to apologize. It's like, actually, am I sorry? I think I'll unlearn that and I'll learn to say hello instead, because that makes space for me and it makes space for connection. But for me, it's not who am I, it's who do I no longer need to be. Making space for who I am to show up, and most importantly, making space for me to change and to grow, because otherwise it's like, what's my latest box that I'm going to put myself in and limit myself? I don't need a box. I need space to flow and grow.
Any other questions? Oh, okay. Thank you, audience, for being patient and listening. This wonderful presentation, Kenny. It's awesome. Well done. Um, what a beautiful message you give us today. Um, Thank you,
Thank
Kenny.
you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
And it's a very important areas. I'm sure it will help boys and men's out there. Um, Voice of Men is running a few live talk shows on a weekly basis. Live talk shows open up looking for guests Sunday at 10 a.m. EST, in Tamil on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. EST. Monthly webinars on Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Panel discussions on Saturdays evening 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So volunteer needed. If you're really interested, please contact us. Voice of Men is looking to work with professionals, community organizations, NGOs, social workers, trainers, coaches, mentors, health professionals, and so on. Um, Voice of Man 360 proudly present an art competition. Share your feelings and emotions through art, drawing, paints, music, songs, short films, poem, article, animation, photography, comics, fashion, performance. The deadline is Sunday, December 2020. One more week ahead, don't forget. Any other art forms you can think of? Yes, of course, do it. No expectation, for participants. Anyone can participate, no barriers or limits. Good news, there are valuable prizes. First prize, 250 Canadian dollar. The second prize, 175 Canadian dollar. And third prize, 100 Canadian dollar. So our competition is sponsored by RCP Right Choice Professional, Wood Gold Barristers and Solicitors, and Mrs. Sweta Kumar Mahomet and Agostino Mortgage, and website support DF Create Credit Solutions. If you'd like to know more about our Voice of Men or the art competitions, contact info 437-889-8329. I'll remind again, 437-889-8329. Our email info@voicemen360org.org, and our official website www.voiceofmen360.org. We are on Facebook in the name of Voice of Men 360, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Please don't forget to hit the like button, and please share these valuable speakers' experiences with others. So don't forget to share. Thank you for watching today's monthly webinar, and special thanks to our guest Kenny for making this morning so special to everyone who listening and watching. Thank you. Thank you, audience. Thank you. Have a great and safe weekend. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.